Hi everyone, this is Luxtos, and today I'm bringing you another leveling guide for Diablo 4. This time around it's going to be for the Rogue, and we're going to go with Twisting Blades. Really fun ability, dish out a lot of damage, even has an AoE component to it, especially when you get that specific legendary that is from an aspect from a dungeon, which means it's guaranteed that you're going to get it. It's going to be super fun. You're going to have a good time. We're going to talk about everything that you need to know from your level 1 to 50 leveling experience for you to clear the campaign and then be ready to transition into that endgame leveling. So we're going to get right into it. We're going to cover the skill tree, the gear, the gem, the specialization, and also the stats that you're going to want for your gear. Before we get started a little bit more in depth into the talent tree, I just want to give you an overview. We're going to go for Puncture for that vulnerable. It's a really, really good ability. You're going to want to do that. It's throwing blade over a short distance too. So this is pretty fun. You're going to have the Twisting Blades, obviously, that are going to do a lot of damage. Throw it away, and then the blade is going to come back after the impel, and then it's going to rotate around you for a little bit with that special legendary, and it's going to do extra damage when it returns. Super fun to use. We're going to go for Shadow Step and Dash, so a lot of mobility. You're going to be able to dash and do actually quite a sizable amount of damage with dash. You're going to be able to move and get some nice buff from it. You're going to have the Shadow Step to trigger some stun and trigger some fun stuff here with momentum to give you that energy regen, that movement speed, that damage reduction, making you super, super deadly on the battlefield. You're going to go with Poison Trap here. So instead of picking between Shadow Imbuement, which is really good for AoE, and then Poison Imbuement, which is a little bit better for single target, we're actually going to go with 5 points into Poison Trap. This thing does a crazy amount of damage, immobilizes enemy by knocking them down, and it's just going to do ridiculous amount of damage. This is going to be good in every single scenario. If you have just enemy running to you, you drop the trap, everything's going to get poisoned, take crazy amount of damage. Bosses are going to take incredible amount of damage. It's going to be super good. Dark Shroud here is going to be your defensive layer. Extremely good ability. You're not going to want to miss out on that. It's also going to give you movement speed, crazy amount of damage reduction. It's just unskippable right now. You're going to get a lot of little passive and buff here. You're not going to run any of the ultimate skill while leveling, and then you're going to finish things off with momentum. So instead of leaving you here and telling you good luck, we're actually going to put point by point into a simulated leveling scenario from 1 to 50. We're going to show you what I would pick and balance out a little bit damage and survivability. Obviously, take this with a grain of salt, because depending on what gear you find, you might need more damage or more survivability. Feel free to adjust point in different order or even diverge a little bit from the build. You should not encounter any problem. Feel free to do that. That's part of the fun, actually. But we're still going to go point by point, show you what I would do if you want a little bit more guidance here. We're going to start things off with Puncture here, which is going to be your main filler ability in between your casts while you're waiting for that energy to regen. And then you're going to go with the Enhanced Puncture here. So that's going to be your first unlock. And we're going to be going for Fundamental, but not quite yet. We're going to be putting our first point here into Twisting Blades so that you can start killing damage and murdering enemies. We're going to enhance the Twisting Blades so that it does more damage when it comes back to you. And then we are going to advance it as well. So when Twisting Blade returns, your active cooldowns are reduced per enemy that they pass through up to 3 seconds, which means that you're going to be reducing the cooldown of that Poison Trap. You're going to be able to get a lot of cooldown reduction on this and plant multiple if the first one hasn't triggered yet, or you're just going to be able to keep spamming it and keep getting some really, really nice poison damage. So this is going to be really, really good. That little cooldown reduction here is going to be really, really nice. We're going to go put the last point here into Fundamental Puncture. So it will now throw 3 blades in a spread, and it will deal damage-based, 35% base damage. And if you hit an enemy with at least 2 of them, the enemy will become vulnerable. So this is going to be really, really good for bosses because you're going to be in close range to them, and you're likely to hit them with at least 2 of the dagger, which is going to give you almost that permanent vulnerable state for you to throw those deadly Twisting Blade and to make sure that you keep the extra damage while they are poison trapped. So this is going to be really, really good right here. We're going to go get your first movement speed ability. We're going to go with Dash here. So you have 2 charges of this on a 12-second cooldown. Insane ability, and it actually does some pretty straightforward damage. not to be neglected. You're going to be moving through the map and zooming all over the place. We're going to come back and put 5 point here, or 4 more points, up to 5 for Twisting Blades to make sure that it keeps up with the world. Because as you level, everything is going to level. Everything is going to be more difficult to kill. And you want to make sure that you keep up with the content so that you don't fall behind. As soon as you have those 5 point here, we're going to go pick our first defensive, Dark Shroud. This is going to be a really, really good ability. You're going to surround yourself with little orbs that are going to rotate around you. Each of them is going to give you damage reduction. So this is 5 times 8% damage reduction. This is really, really good. If you take direct damage, it's going to consume 1, but there's a chance also that it will not be consumed. So that's pretty cool. Really, really good ability. We're going to go for Poison Trap here. We're going to start trapping people and making sure that we do that sweet, sweet, sweet damage. And we're going to knock them down as well, just to make sure that we get a little bit of crowd control. If we need to kite something, we can kite them into the trap. They'll get knocked down, and then we can run or leave if we're ever in trouble. That's always nice to have. Also, this is going to allow us to trigger some additional passive later on. So once we get this, we're going to go into Sturdy here. So the Sturdy ability is right here. So close damage reduction. This is going to be really good. This is going to stack up all the way to 12. But I like to max out Siphoning Strike first. This is going to be really, really good. Every time you critical strike something that is close to you, you're going to get health back. So this is going to give you that sustain that you need. After the healing, I like to pick Shadow Step. This is going to be pretty good here. And then we're going to go for Enhanced Dark Shroud. So we're going to make sure the orbs aren't getting consumed as much as possible. And we're going to go for Subverting Dark Shroud. This is going to give you very, very big mobility when you're running between monster. If you have the 5 charges, this is going to be 20% movement speed at all time between packs if you're not getting hit. So this is going to be really, really good for that speed leveling. If you don't really care about zooming through and you're more somebody that enjoys taking your time and killing pretty much everything in sight, feel free to change it here. This is only if you have 4, so it's not like the best in the world. I would much rather have the movement speed, but it is possible. You could also entirely save up the point, but the movement speed is really, really good. You're going to have a hard time getting rid of it. Trust me. After improving this one, we're going to enhance dash over here. So enemy damage by dash take increased critical strike damage from you. So you're going to be using this to buff yourself before you get your nice burst. So you're going to be able to dash through enemies. You're going to be able to puncture them to get that vulnerable state. And then you're going to be able to trigger your Poison Trap, your Twisting Blade, and get as much Twisting Blade as possible before you have to reapply this and then re-dash and just do as much damage as you can here onto those big bosses. We're going to improve as well with Discipline Dash over here. So this is going to allow you to slow enemy. And if you hit an enemy that is slow, you're going to daze them. So this is going to have some implication here with momentum, which is going to be pretty good. So we're going to talk a little bit about that later, but you're going to go ahead and pick that discipline here. So that's going to allow you to slow everything you zoom through. So if you decide to try to skip a little bit of monster to get to an objective, this is going to be pretty neat. And then we're going to go into the Enhanced Shadow Step to give you that critical strike chance. And then we're going to go into Methodical Shadow Step for that stun, which is also going to help you out with momentum here. So that's going to be pretty good. So we're going to go with these. After this, we're going to finish up putting 2 points here in Sturdy to make it go to 3. 12% close damage reduction is really, really good. We're going to go with 3 points into Weapon Mastery. You're probably going to be using swords here. That's 9% increased damage pretty much at all time. You can use daggers as well, but it's only 15% damage to healthy enemies, which is over 80% health. Not that great. I would suggest definitely the swords here. And then we're going to go for Adrenaline Rush, which is all the way down here. This is going to give you a little bit of regen, but it's mostly to go unlock haste here. So we're going to put 2 point in haste before we can go unlock momentum here. While you're above a certain amount of energy, you will gain movement speed. So if you're not killing anything, you're not spending energy, you get even more movement speed. So that's 30% now. And if you are spending energy fighting something, then you get free attack speed. So that's just really, really good. We're going to go for momentum here. So when you use a Cutthroat skills, it grants a stack of momentum for 8 seconds if they are stunned, dazed, or frozen, or if you hit an enemy from behind. So you can apply daze by doing your Discipline Dash over here on targets that are already slowed, or Shadow Step here is going to trigger it by automatically attacking the target from behind because it is a cutthroat ability, and it will strike the target for damage from behind, but it will also stun them. So this should give you 2 stacks, and then if you attack them again with another cutthroat ability, then you'll be good to go, and you will get this momentum. While you have 3 stack of this, you get 20% damage reduction, 30% energy regen, and 15% movement speed. So pretty much, you're going to be using this on cooldown. This is 9-second cooldown. The buff lasts 8 seconds. You can apply this very easily with Shadow Step, and you're pretty much going to be permanently taking less damage, generating more, and moving faster. So we got a lot of movement speed right now. You're going to be zooming. You're going to be zooming. We're going to go for Innervation. So we're going to put 1 point here in order to get a little bit of energy right now, a little bit of extra energy regen while you're hitting things. And then we're going to go for 3 point into Trap Mastery here. So when a Poison Trap or Death Trap activate, you gain 12% increased critical chance against Vulnerable and Crowd Control. So Crowd Control includes anything that you slow, anything that you knock down, anything that happened to anything, pretty much. You're going to be doing extra damage to them. So that's going to be free damage from your trap. That's going to be really, really good. After that, we're going to finish off Inversion here to get a little bit more energy regen, and then we're going to finish off Haste here. So we're going to put 1 more point in here. We're going to go get an ability called... They're all over the place, these things. Oh, there we go. Concussive here. After a knockback or a knockdown, an enemy, you gain Critical Strike. So that's going to be really, really good. We're going to put 3 points in here because you're going to be triggering this pretty much every 10 seconds. And even less, actually, because Twisting Blade is going to reduce the cooldown, which is going to give you permanent 15%, not permanent, but 15% increase critical strike chance for 3 seconds, which is going to give you really, really good bursts as you apply the trap, and then you empty your energy with your Twisting Blade. So that's going to be really, really good. We're then going to go max out that sweet Poison Trap. So we just put a lot of points to make sure that we're doing, as much as possible with our traps. So we're going to go ahead and put those points. And look at the damage skyrocket. Goes all the way to 482% damage, poison over 9 seconds. Kind of insane. This thing will blast. We're going to go for Exploit here. We're going to put 3 points. So if anything is healthy or injured, you're just going to do 18% more damage to it. So that gives you 2 nice bracket that you're going to do increased damage. And then we're going to go for Malice here for extra damage to vulnerable enemy, 9%. That's going to be really good. And then we're going to finish things off with a little Deadly Venom here for increased poisoning damage. And then we're going to go for poison enemy deals less damage. So feel free to get this a little bit sooner if you feel like you're dying, and this could reduce the damage of pretty much all bosses, all enemy. You can feel free to get this earlier if you're good on energy, for example, or if you don't need the movement speed, or you could replace Trap Mastery and get this sooner if you want instead of the extra damage. This would be a good one to swap. These 3 points here can be replaced with these 3 points here and be swapped. There's a lot of other options that you can do. This is a big amount of damage reduction with Poison Trap, but I just decided to get it here because in a lot of cases, it's going to be mostly for bosses if you're getting hit, but you should be able to dodge most of the abilities. So it depends on your playstyle, your gear, your skills. Feel free to modify a little bit of these. So you got your build. Everything is good to go. We're going to move on to the specialization here. So I chose combo points. Inner Sight is really, really good. This is going to be pretty much something that you're going to want to check and modify as you are fighting. So while you're clearing big maps, Inner Sight is not really fun to use because it's going to mark one enemy, and then you have to go get that enemy and then try to fill your gouge on it, and then you're going to get this unlimited energy phase. But it's not my favorite playstyle, especially when just clearing things in the world and trying to level fast. Combo point is a little bit more simple to keep track of. Every time you use a basic attack, you'll generate combo point, and then when you use a finisher, a core skill, you'll expend those combo point and do additional effects, so additional damage. So this is just more straightforward. You don't have to really notice anything. You don't even have to watch them because you're naturally going to deplete your energy and then try to replenish it with your basic skills. So you're just going to get free bonus. But feel free to swap to Inner Sight whenever you're doing bosses or whenever you're doing any content that starts to get a little bit more challenging and things can live longer. When you get closer to that level 50, things are going to live longer and be a lot harder to kill. and then you're going to be able to target specific monster, get that free unlimited energy, and then spam those twisting blade, right? So feel free to modify this at will and according to your playstyle. I'm just a big fan of combo points. I think both are really, really good. You're just going to need to change that a little bit as you go. We're going to go over the legendaries real quick. So all of these are aspect, which means that you're going to be able to find them in dungeon, and they're going to be you're going to be able to target them and get them either by the campaign or by a dungeon in one of the zone. So aspect of disobedience, absolutely amazing legendary, gives you a lot of armor. This is going to be really, really good. So make sure you get this. It's really, really good. Aspect of might here, damage reduction every time you use your puncture blade for 2 seconds. Not the greatest. You could replace this with something else, but there's not a lot of choices, so this is pretty good. It's pretty easy to get as well. Aspect of expectant. This is just going to boost your core skill every time you use basic skill. So this is going to play perfectly into combo point because you're going to want to spam your basic skill, build combo point, build your aspect of expectant, and then twisting blades, right? We're going to go with aspect of the protector. Every time you attack an elite, you're going to get a free barrier, which is going to be pretty nice. Free damage reduction. Rogue is pretty squishy, so you're going to need these defensive legendaries. And then eluding aspect, one of my favorite Lego. Every time you get crowd control and your HP goes down, you'll get a free unstoppable to clear you from the CC, and you'll be able to get the hell out of there. This is going to happen every 40 seconds. The best legendary in the world, at least for this spec, Twisting Blade orbits for a short time after they return to you, dealing 10% of Twisting Blade's return damage per hit. So whatever damage Twisting Blade does when it returns, it will do 10% of that damage every time the Twisting Blade hits an enemy. Based on the distance the blade returned, the orbit damage increased by 20%. So this is just going to be really, really good. If you attack an enemy, get far away, and then the return is a little bit longer, and then you attack more enemy with that return damage, you'll get some nice AoE rolling around you. Dealing direct damage to an enemy affected by your trap skill has up to a 30% chance to make them vulnerable for 3 seconds. So this is going to give you another really, really good way to get vulnerable. This is not a guaranteed way, but this is going to be pretty good. Every time you apply your trap, you're going to get some pretty good, consistent, vulnerable state here. Skill deal additional damage if you're capped on primary resources. Against this work really, really well with the expectant and with combo point because you're going to be using your filler, your puncture until you're almost capped on energy, and then you want to dump it to get that additional damage, and then it's going to be really, really good. It's going to give you some free damage here. As you can see, we don't have any legendaries on the weapon. There is a reason for this. I don't recommend aspecting your weapon because it's going to cost you a massive amount of gold, and you want to swap and change your weapon as often as possible. So you're going to want to keep your weapon as high item level and as high dishing damage as possible. You're going to want to update them and replace them a lot. And if you keep imprinting legendary on it, you're going to be poor. You're not going to have gold because you need gold. Gold is important. And I don't recommend that you waste it on this. You're going to struggle if you keep doing this to every new weapon you find. You're either going to struggle with gold because you keep doing it to every weapon you find, or you're going to intentionally limit the level at which your weapon is following up, and then you're not going to be doing as much damage as you could. Obviously, this only applies to the dual wield weapon because we're never going to use our bow. So if you find a bow that has a legendary power on it that benefits you, feel free to keep it as a stat stick. That's going to be amazing. Feel free to aspect a bow that has really, really good stats and then keep it for a long time. That's going to be perfectly fine. But we're talking about here your main dagger, your main sword, your main blade weapon. Those are going to be replaced very often, and you can even upgrade them at the blacksmith to squeeze as much damage as you can to overcome the content and challenges. So that's going to be it for legendaries. For your gem, Emerald here is going to give you critical strike damage to vulnerable enemy. With your trap here and your blade, you should be dishing out a lot of vulnerable. You should have no problem getting the vulnerable state in here. With your armor, you're going to want to get the maximum life, 4% max life, always good on armor, and then you're going to get some armor on your jewelry. So you're going to put skulls in there because armor is overpowered. So you're going to want as much as possible of it. That is going to be it for the gems. We're going to go into the wanted gear. Wanted gear, really straightforward. Always go for Vitality Max Life. Those are really, really good. Go for Dexterity. Go for plus skills. If you find plus skills to Poison Trap or plus skills to Twisting Blade, those are going to do ridiculous amount of damage. That's going to be really, really good. If you can get Critical Strike chance, Vulnerable damage, Crowd Control damage, those are going to be good as well. Pretty much anything that will increase your damage with your main stats and your life and plus skills, you're going to be good to go with your Twisting Blades Rogue. That's going to be pretty much it for this guide. Really straightforward, really fun build. I think you're going to enjoy it. You're going to level really, really fast with this. This is going to destroy content. You're just going to have to watch out to not get killed. Rogues are a little bit squishy, so make sure you pay attention to that. And that's it. If you enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like on this video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. I know it's kind of cringe. We say it all the time, but it truly helps. It really, really does. You can also leave a comment down below if you think there's anything that I could improve on the video. If you have any criticism, I would gladly read them so I can improve videos in the future. Also, I would like to know, what class do you plan on leveling? Your first class that you're going to level in Diablo, is it going to be the Rogue? Or is this going to be an alt and you're going to have another main that you're going to level first? Let me know in the comment. Also, if you want to come chat with me, we stream live on Twitch every single day starting at 11 a.m. EST, 7 days a week. I take days off sometimes, but I'm streaming very often on Twitch. You can come say hello. We're going to have the full event going for Diablo 4 launch. We're going to have the support a streamer horse that is going to be releasing. If you want to give subs to the channel and get the horse, we're also going to have Twitch drop. So that's going to be kind of awesome. Come hang out. I hope to see you in Twitch chat or in the comment section or maybe even in Sanctuary. Bye-bye, my friend.